Bin Haimin is the name, and I am indeed sneaking up on 50, as old men would say. My first system was PONG, bought by my father, where the console and the game were one and the same. Next, he bought an Atari, playing only sports games, while I branched into adventure. The NES spawned my true gaming, as well as raging days. The Sega Genesis blew me away, but was also the last console I played RPGs on, being sick of turn-based skirmishes. I quit gaming for music, but picked up a PS1 somewhere, which found me on the Kingsfield games by From Software. An atmospheric and mystical experience in those. Gave away that PS1 when I discovered meditation. Later came the GameCube and Metroid Prime. Friend lent me an Xbox, which paved the way to competitive Halo for many years, including on the Xbox 360s and Xbone. I picked up Dark Souls a year ago, and was ensnared by the series. This video highlights my first character and various tougher enemies. I will speak when there is something of note that I remember about the clips to come. Otherwise, I will let the gameplay speak for itself. As a noob facing Elden Ring for the first time. Now, the name I gave this character build was Saigo Domo. Saigo, the name of a ninja, I remember, in a book I read long ago. And Domo meaning, I think, gratitude, to remind me to be grateful of the experience, as I practice in many things, gratitude. But with the gratitude, theoretically, I would not be getting too pissed off. I would just be happy to be here. This is a callback to older games, blowing up barrels. Can't say I figured out how these really work on my first playthrough, but tanked it. Looking back, I was making the game somewhat easy, but it should have been easy with these spirit summons, because now, on my second playthrough, facing a lot of bosses alone, without spirit summons, without gold assistance. Well, yes, this guy's second phase is a bit of a handful. It can be troublesome, fighting fire with evasion.
I am the Lord of all that is cold.
The Deathbird gave me trouble upon the horse, but once I chose to dismount and fight it on foot, it wasn't too much of a problem. I think I beat it the first try, off the steed. as I saw these enemies, I figured a strike weapon was the way to go. Obviously crystalline bodies. I didn't really understand what was going on, needing to break their poise, but soon enough, I was doing damage. So I figured this out pretty quickly. Then I looked it up online afterward, as I did with many things. This enemy was an obvious input-reading jackass. So I dealt with him the old-fashioned way. It's only now, reviewing this footage, that I recognize some moves that would show up later in the boss. Is it Marika? She's got some watered-down versions of a later boss, which I don't see on this playthrough. I don't play that far. But my second character, I faced that real boss. Whew! Tough one. And Star Scourge, I had to try about 5 times maybe. Annoyingly got him so close to death before getting one shot a number of times myself. The boss run-ups, the run-ups to the boss are so much more forgiving in this game than previous Dark Souls From Software games. It is much appreciated and makes repeating and learning the bosses more tolerable, in fact, enjoyable. I am fine with learning the bosses and fighting them over and over and getting gooder, but long boss run-ups, it was a waste of my life, it felt. Waste of time. Another pair of bosses where fighting them on foot gave me far more success than attempting it on torrent steed. Here is sort of a montage of sneaking around, taking out these knights. I don't believe I died to this thing here, at least not in this area. I think it's because I didn't know enough about it to be scared of it. With my sorcerer, the next playthrough, I had a great fear of these things. By this point, I had realized I was summoning spirits in at the beginning of so many boss fights, and I didn't have to do that. In fact, it would probably be better if I want to learn the boss's moves. And this is one of the bosses that I think I pretty much understood his whole game, and had answers for it. But this is also before I understood that Elden Ring isn't all about the rolling like the Dark Souls games. The shield and guard counters they are significant aspects of the core gameplay. Or they can be. And rolling can be too, if you wish. But you don't need to be rolling all the time. I was somewhat consoled to discover online that these are considered quite tough enemies. In some areas, they are as feared as mini bosses. Considered harder than mini bosses. I was wondering why they were kind of strangely hard to deal with. I suppose it's their large moveset and ability to stagger you so easily and be not so easily staggered themselves. This part of the game, this enemy, I understood pretty well, as you have many chances to encounter them and learn them through the game. I had fallen to this boss a number of times using the katana, but the moment I switched to the mace, or is that a Morning Star? Strike weapon, I unexpectedly beat him. Part of that probably owing to the special attack where you can be ranged against him. I think this is like the first time since the Mistwood Forests that I was able to handle a rune bear on foot fairly well. For a lot of the game I dropped the ball on him. But I think I was probably just concentrating and remembering how to play these games. A secret transmissible from Halo first-person shooters. A way of looking at things. This is the final area that I played with this character. as I wanted to save some of the areas and the last areas of the game and the last optional areas so I can experience them newly on future playthroughs. In fact, I still haven't seen the castle in this area. And after this, I put the samurai away, as I suppose that's what he is, a samurai, and made a sorcerer. And I did begin again. I will return to this character when the DLC comes out, as he was really fun.